All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Auto Auction Maverick. Okay, this video is like really long overdue. Okay, most people run away from vehicles with 170,000 miles. I don't. Okay, in this video, I'm going to tell you all the vehicles that you should consider if you're like in a really tight kind of budget. Okay, these are vehicles that with very minimal maintenance can go a long time. Now, if you are buying a vehicle that has 170,000 miles, the best advice I can give you after you buy that vehicle is to drive it like you need it to last you 3 more years. Okay? These cars, and it's all situational, but these cars, while they can last 300,000 to 400,000 miles, these are also not cars that you can jump in and be like Paul Walker from Fast and Furious, okay? It's just not like that. So let's get started. So the first model, or I guess engine that we're actually going to talk about here is Toyota's legendary 2GR FE motor, okay? This is a motor that came in so many vehicles from Toyota and Lexus that it is not even funny. And I will rattle them off for you, okay? But the very simple thing is that if you're looking at a Toyota and you're trying to seek out this engine, obviously just confirm that, okay? But I'm going to rattle them off. This is no research. This is all, raw footage. Like I said, spent some coin on some AI editing tools, and I really did not get the result that I wanted. So we're just going to wing it, and after about 50 to 75 videos, if we got some traction, maybe we'll step our game up in that way, okay? First and foremost, all right, so Toyota Camry models, XLE, Toyota Avalon, okay? Toyota Highlander, okay? Lexus ES350, okay? Lexus RX 350, okay? Those are going to be kind of the main I think platforms that you're gonna find those on. But any platform that has it, I know that Toyota Venza has that 2GR FE in it as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is the first one that I mentioned is there are a lot of other credible YouTubers out there that will back me up on this. But if you can get an access to a Carfax for a car that has 170,000 miles and has a 2GR FE in it, and it has regular oil changes, chances are that motor is going to be in really good shape. That is just how Toyota designed it to be. So that is definitely my top one. So the next one up is going to be any Honda that is equipped with a 2.4 liter like K24 motor, okay? The most common models for this are their Honda Accord and their Honda CR-V. This motor, from my knowledge, was introduced like in the early 2000s, and it was in their CR-V, or their third gen CR-V, as well as their I don't know how many gen Accord. Ladies and gentlemen, these motors are really tough, okay? Even if you get a motor that has a VVTi solenoid spring that is making it rattle on startup, I think it's a VCT actuator, excuse me. But there's a little spring in that gear, and it does create a little rattle on startup before it can get some oil pressure. Do not let that scare you. What I would let scare me, though, on these motors is if you hear like any sort of timing chain noise after the vehicle has been started up and while you're driving it, okay? These motors are a lifetime timing chain motor, and I've only seen one instance where... No, I've actually haven't seen any instances where a timing chain has been the cause of a catastrophic failure on a K24. It's usually been a bearing-related kind of scenario. So, all right, so the next one here is a timing belt motor. It's the first timing belt motor on our list, okay? And it's the Honda 3.5 liter, okay? This is a timing belt motor that Honda does recommend being changed every 98,000 miles, okay? And while I have seen so many Hondas with this kind of mileage that we're talking about not have the timing belt changed, those are not ones that I would buy, okay? If it's a timing belt motor and you're going to buy something past 170,000 miles, you really want to try and make sure that you have some record or some documentation that that timing belt has been changed, okay? So these motors can take a ton of abuse. They're in the Honda Odyssey, they're in the Honda Pilot, they're in the highest trim level Honda Accords. This motor is also in an Acura TL, an RDX, and an MDX. Okay, so very, very popular motor, very, very dependable motor. But these motors, I'll do a further breakdown video of it in the future. But if this motor has too much noise to it, stay away from it. And I'll talk about valve lash tick and what is normal injector tick in another video on these motors. So fourth one up we have here is, I got all my windows closed so that you guys can hear me okay. It's getting a little hot, but we're going to power through. So the next one up is like any Toyota Camry with the 2.5 liter motor in it, okay? There are Camrys that have the 3.5 liter motor in it, but that is the 2GR FE motor that I have already covered. There are 3 years that you really, really want to avoid on Camrys that have a 2.4 liter motor, and that is 07 through 09. They are known to absolutely drink the oil. You will commonly find these in a Camry, and a Pontiac Vibe or a Toyota Matrix, okay? So these 2.5 liter motors can take a ton of abuse. They are a timing chain motor, so you really don't have to worry about doing a timing chain on them. And there's a reason why they last for a long time, is they can take a ton of abuse, okay? So any Toyota model that has a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter motor in it, this also covers the RAV4, okay? Lots of RAV4s have this same displacement of motor in them. So obviously, this next video that I'm going to talk about is a Honda Pilot. I did mention it when it came to Honda's 3.5 liter motor. But one thing that you really want to watch out for on first generation Honda Pilots is the rear bumper will completely rust out, but then also the rear subframe bolts that connect to the rear axle and like kind of tie all that together, those will actually rust out too. So if you are going to consider buying a first gen Honda Pilot, you really need to make sure that you get down and get underneath and you really look at the rear end. So lastly, we're going to sprinkle in some American goodness. I'm a very big fan of Ford's 2.5 liter motor that they put in like a Ford Fusion, the base level Ford Escape. Those motors can take a ton of abuse, and if you find a Ford that has a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter motor in it that has more than 170,000 miles on it, chances are you're going to be in good shape. Last one here is going to be Ford's naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 motor, okay? This motor is a very widely used motor for Ford. There's many applications that they made for it. They put this motor in police interceptors, whether it be an Explorer or a Taurus. They put it in an Explorer and a Taurus for a civilian car, okay? But it was in their Ford Edge, as well as a few others. So this is another timing chain motor that I would not hesitate to buy if it had more than 170,000 miles. So thanks for tuning in. Like I said, the background and all that, you're just going to have to deal with it. The knowledge is definitely more important here than any sort of graphics that I could add. So like I said, if you're just catching on to the videos, feel free to subscribe and like, and even comment if you disagree with something that I've said. I'd love to talk about it. All right, guys, thanks.